Norway's history is rich with tales of Viking exploration, unification, and transformation from a medieval kingdom to a modern, prosperous nation. Below is an overview of the major periods in Norwegian history. Prehistoric and Viking Age, before 800 CE 1050 CE. Early settlements. Human activity in Norway dates back over 10,000 years, with the first settlers arriving after the Ice Age. These early inhabitants were hunters and gatherers. Over time, they developed agricultural societies. Viking Age, 800 to 1050 CE. The Viking Age is a defining period in Norwegian history. Norway's seafarers were among the most feared and respected in Europe, known for their raids, trade, and exploration. Norwegian Vikings explored the Atlantic, discovering and settling Iceland, Greenland, and parts of North America, Vinland, likely modern-day Newfoundland. Harald Fairhair, around 872 CE, King Harald Fairhair is traditionally credited with uniting the fragmented Norwegian territories into a single kingdom after the Battle of Hafrsfjord. This unification marked the beginning of the Kingdom of Norway. The kingdom became more dependent on its more powerful neighbors, Denmark and Sweden. Kalmar Union and Danish rule, 1397 to 1814. Kalmar Union. In 1397, Norway entered the Kalmar Union, a political union with Denmark and Sweden under a single monarch. While Sweden would eventually break away, Denmark and Norway remained united for centuries. Danish rule. Norway was effectively ruled by Denmark from 1536, losing much of its autonomy. This period, known as the 400-year Night, saw Norwegian culture and language heavily influenced by Danish norms. However, Norway's Catholic institutions and the establishment of the Lutheran Church as the state religion. Napoleonic Wars and union with Sweden, 1814 to 1905. End of Danish rule. Denmark-Norway sided with Napoleon during the Napoleonic Wars, and after Napoleon's defeat, the Treaty of Kiel, 1814, ceded Norway to Sweden. Norway, however, sought independence and drafted its own constitution in 1814 in the town of Eidsvoll. Union with Sweden. Despite briefly declaring independence, Norway was forced into a personal union with Sweden under the Swedish king. Norway maintained its own constitution, legal system, and considerable internal autonomy during this period, although foreign policy was controlled by Sweden. Growing nationalism. Throughout the 19th century, Norwegian nationalism grew, spurred by economic development, cultural revival, and democratic reforms. In 1884, Norway established a parliamentary system of government, which further increased its autonomy. Independence and early 20th century, 1905 to 1940. Independence from Sweden. The union with Sweden ended peacefully in 1905, following a series of political disagreements over foreign policy. Norway's peaceful secession was confirmed by a plebiscite, and Prince Karl of Denmark was invited to become Norway's king. He took the name King Haakon VII. Neutrality in World War I. Norway remained neutral during World War I, although its merchant fleet suffered heavy losses due to the war. The country profited economically from trade, particularly shipping. World War II and occupation, 1940 to 1945. German occupation. Norway declared neutrality at the start of World War II, but it was invaded by Nazi Germany in April 1940. The Norwegian resistance, both military and civilian, played an important role throughout the occupation. King Haakon VII and the government fled to Britain, where they led the resistance in exile. Liberation. Norway was liberated in May 1945 with the help of Allied forces. The post-war period saw significant political and social changes as the country rebuilt from the war. Post-war period and modern Norway, 1945-present. Social democracy and economic growth. After World War II, Norway developed a robust welfare state and became a social democracy under the leadership of the Labour Party. Norway's economy grew significantly, particularly after the discovery of oil in the North Sea in the 1960s. The oil industry has since become a major pillar of Norway's economy. European relations. While Norway is not a member of the European Union, it maintains close ties with the EU through the European Economic Area (EEA) agreement. Norwegians have twice voted against joining the EU, in 1972 and 1994, preferring to maintain greater political and economic autonomy. International role. Norway plays an active role in international diplomacy, particularly in peacekeeping and humanitarian efforts. The country has mediated numerous peace negotiations and is home to the Nobel Peace Prize, awarded annually in Oslo. Environmental leadership. In recent decades, Norway has been a leader in environmental sustainability, promoting renewable energy, responsible oil extraction, and environmental conservation. 21st century. High living standards. Norway consistently ranks among the top countries in terms of human development, equality, and quality of life. It has a high standard of living, supported by a comprehensive welfare system and prudent management of its oil wealth through the Government Pension Fund of Norway, often referred to as the Oil Fund. Political stability. Modern Norway enjoys political stability, with a monarchy, parliamentary democracy, and a high degree of civic engagement. The country continues to balance its environmental concerns with its status as a major oil producer. Norway's history is one of resilience and transformation, from its Viking roots to its emergence as a wealthy, peaceful, and environmentally conscious nation in the modern era.